Hello and welcome everybody to the NBA Trade Zone podcast where we talk all things NBA trades, past, present, future. Hi guys, my name is Daniel.
And I am Sebastian, and today we are going to grade each team and how we believe they performed before the NBA trade deadline, with their trades, of course. And Danny's going to give you the results of the last week's trade deadline challenge. So we are going to start with that.
Okay, so the results of the NBA Trade Deadline Challenge. When it comes to the 50 draft assets, Sebastian ended up with negative 23 points, and I ended up with negative 11 points. Some of the key players that really gave me an advantage here were J. Michael Green and Garrett Temple. Sebastian had a combined 5 points for them. I had a combined 10 points bid on them. So clearly I gained 5 points on that end. Some other ones, Brandon Knight and Marquise Chris. These guys were key here for me. I had a combined 11 points bid on them. Sebastian only bid 1 point on them, which gave me a 10-point advantage on those two players as well. And then when it came to the top 5 active teams at the deadline, Sebastian had negative 14. I had negative 2. And the Pelicans, being only the 6th most active team, really cost Sebastian some points here. Lakers and Bulls also did not show up. The Hawks really did cost me as well because the Hawks were not one of the more. They weren't even top 7, top 8. The Hawks were very inactive, actually, which was pretty surprising. So they did cost me as well, but having the Sixers and the Cavaliers really gained me a good amount of points. The Pelicans as well, of course, and then the Knicks were not anywhere near the top 5 of the list. So basically, they cost me, but they cost me only 2 points. So the end results were Sebastian having negative 37 points and me having negative 13 points. Woohoo! Winner of the first NBA Trade Deadline Challenge. How exciting. All right. So without further ado, we will grade each team's deadline performance. We will give a quick analysis, give a grade and a quick analysis on how we think each team did prior to the NBA trade deadline, okay? Prior to the deadline of being able to make trades. So we will go in alphabetical order and start off with the Atlanta Hawks. How do we think the Atlanta Hawks did?
I mean, they barely made any trades. They had some trade pieces to move, some people on expirings, but they obviously didn't make those trades. I'll give them a D.
Yeah, I have to give them a... I'll probably even go with a D minus. Trading Ken Bazemore wasn't necessarily a priority. I think they could maybe even get a little more for him next year if he performs well, because he'll be on an expiring contract next year. And by more, I guess, take on less, I should say that. But not trading Dwayne Dedmon and Jeremy Lin. And I guess I'll move my grade up to a D plus, actually, because of the fact that even though they did not trade Dwayne Dedmon and Jeremy Lin, it really seemed like it was an extremely dry market in terms of team being willing to even trade second-round picks. I mean, J. Michael Green and Garrett Temple really got Memphis what to me is negative value. So the fact that Memphis wasn't able to garner a second-round pick for them kind of shows where the market was. So I'll move them up to a D plus, but because nonetheless they still should have traded Dwayne Dedmon, Jeremy Lin. They shouldn't be trying to win, which with this move it seems like they're doing, especially because they haven't bought out the players yet, and it's been reported that they won't buy out those two players. So really, they should have been a little more active. Like I said, Ken Bazemore, I guess you could hold on to till next year. He still will be with the team, even though he will help the team win this year. But holding on to Lin and Dedmon, even players like Taurean Prince, I don't like that choice, but it is what it is, I guess.
Next team we have are the Boston Celtics, who also didn't make any moves, but I believe that That is how they should have played this trade deadline. They couldn't offer Jason Tatum in any package for Anthony Davis. So I think I'm going to give them an A because they're staying pat and they're going to see if they can get him in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'll give them a C just because that's an average. I'm not going to fault them for the fact that that other teams have a big influence on some of their draft picks, and these teams, for example, the Clippers, obviously made themselves worse by trading Tobias Harris. Will more than likely, I should say probably, but will more than likely miss the playoffs. And now Boston won't get their pick. And the fact that Memphis did not trade Mike Conley, and also while trading for Gasol, acquired 3 players, 3 rotational pieces. So basically, meaning that Boston actually might get their pick this year. Because of the fact that they cut Mike Conley, they might still end up a 9-10 seed, might get the 9-10th pick in the draft, but Boston should be hoping that they don't get their pick. And that's something that affects them, because if they get their 9-10th pick, it's not as sexy as it would be if it was a 2020 top 6 protected pick and still having to potentially be a 2021 unprotected pick. That's something that they could really use in the Anthony Davis trade, and it'll be more attractive than whoever they select at the number 9 or 10 slot, if that's what happens to occur here. I also won't fault them for the fact that Toronto, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia all got better. And they didn't, because I don't think Bradley Beal wasn't available, who would have been a nice upgrade for them. Obviously, they couldn't trade for Anthony Davis. I don't know what else was available for them that really would have improved their roster. So I will just go with an average grade of C and leave it at that.
The only thing I will say is they do also lose on the Clippers. It seems like the Clippers are not going to make the playoffs. We're trading away Tobias Harris, and now that pick's going to turn into 2 second-round picks, which are...
Well, no. It's still lottery protected next year. So.
Oh, it is?
It is, yeah. So, I mean, but nonetheless, if Clippers really do get a key free agent or two, that pick will not be as high as it would have been this year if they made it as an 8 seed. So.
Yeah. All right, so now we have the Brooklyn Nets. Dan, can you refresh if they've made any trades?
No, the Brooklyn Nets, as far as I remember, they did not make any trades. I could take a quick glance here, but there was definitely nothing big. They did make one trade. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it wasn't a big move. Oh, I'm sorry, that's what it was. They acquired Greg Monroe for basically nothing. I will give the Nets, if anything, I think the only options they could add would be trading Rondae Hollis-Jefferson if they decided that he's not a part of their future. They didn't. I don't know if he will be a part of their future or not. I won't fault them for holding on to him. He still has some potential as basically a do-it-all type of player where he does a lot of things good, nothing great. So holding on to him is not the worst thing. Acquiring Greg Monroe, I guess, nice. You get some depth. I'll give them a C+, just a little bit above average.
All right, I'll give them about a B. I mean, again, I like their team. I like what they've been doing, but they haven't done anything special. So I'll keep them at the B level. The Charlotte Hornets comes next. Now, they weren't able to pull off the Marc Gasol trade that was rumored. I don't believe they made any other trades.
No, they did not. They were actually very inactive.
So I will put them at about I'll put them at C- just because I thought if they do want to make the playoffs, they should try to make some kind of trade. They weren't able to offload any of their long contracts. But again, I mean, it'd be hard to offload those contracts, so I'll give it a C-.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a C- here too. Definitely below, not definitely, I guess it's only a little bit below average in my book, but yeah, the inactivity is a little strange to me. I think there were, at least at the very minimum, small upgrades available. Now, granted, their lack of expiring contracts this year really would make it hard for them to trade their players without giving up some type of assets in return. as well. Their inability to trade for Marc Gasol, I mean, that's where I guess I'll drop them down a little bit below average because even though Marc Gasol is not the answer to your prayers, he would have been a definitive upgrade for them, and he would have been, especially with the Pistons and Miami and the Heat getting worse by choice. I think really getting a Marc Gasol would have not guaranteed the playoffs for them, but at least allowed them to make a strong push. Allow them to make a strong push for a playoff. For a 6, 7 seed, let's say a 7 seed because Brooklyn's been playing really well. So for a 7 seed, and if that's their goal, they really should have found a way to make that Marc Gasol trade. We'll get to Memphis and their return for Marc Gasol when we get to Memphis. I'll grade them there for that, and I'll comment on this whole situation when we get to Memphis. How I feel about the returns here, between the comparison between what Charlotte offered and what Toronto offered.
All right, next we have the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls made that trade for Otto Porter for Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker. I'm going to rate this trade as a D-. You know what? Actually, I'm going to give it an F. And it's nothing against Otto Porter. I just don't understand what the Bulls are doing in this trade. I argue that the point of this year is to really bottom out and be able to pick up Zion Williamson. Now, if they're able to do that, I might change my opinion of this trade because I would like the fit of Zion Williamson and Otto Porter Jr. on the same team. But without knowing that, I'm not a fan of this trade because I do think the goal should be to bottom out.
Okay, I will go with a B on this trade, actually. I'm not on this trade for the Chicago Bulls at the deadline. I like the move. I actually think it's a good move. They used up their cap space over the next 2 years. I don't think they would have done anything with that cap space or would have signed anyone useful. And with Otto Porter, they still get a player who's pretty young. I mean, I believe he's only 25, 26. He does a lot of things well. He's been a good player as of late, especially the last couple of months. He could shoot the three. He could defend. I don't know if he'll be starting. He'll probably be starting, actually, as a small forward. The Bulls don't have any real standout small forward, so he should probably start as a small forward for the Bulls over the next 2 years. I think he'll be a very nice complementary piece around the remainder of their young players. Plus, he brings a veteran presence there. And like I said, I mean, Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker, I don't know if maybe Bobby Portis would have been back after this year, maybe not. But I don't think it really matters. I like the move just because I don't think the Bulls were going to be doing anything with their cap space the next 2 years. I don't think this move necessarily helps them win. If anything, a couple additional games this year. I think they'll be fine with their lottery pick. I still think it'll be an extremely high pick. I don't know how much of a difference this trade will make this year, so I don't think it's a bad trade. Their inability, obviously, they put Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine on the trade block prior to the expiration of the trade deadline. I didn't think they were actually going to be serious about trading one of those players. Actually, and I think if they would have traded anyone, it would have been Chris Dunn, and they would have gotten a small package in return, perhaps a second-round pick. So I'm glad they didn't do that. I actually like Chris Dunn as well. I don't think he's the answer to their point guard position, but I think he's a solid backup in the league. So I give him a B in this. Sorry, did I say a B or a B minus? I'll give him a B minus.
All right, well, it's kind of surprising to hear you say that because I would think that you would be in them for all tanking, and I don't think Otto Porter...
I am. I just don't think Otto Porter will give him... really...
I think he's worth a few games, which might be kind of important.
Maybe for a whole season, but not throughout the remainder. I'd say, if anything, he probably wins them one additional game.
All right. Well, he already kind of won them that one game. I mean, or at least he took part of it against... I forget who they played 2 days ago. But Cleveland Cavaliers, They got rid of Rodney Hood before the trade deadline.